Hey everybody, welcome to Electronic Cafe. This is Tim Humphrey. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about Icehouse, Australian band. Ian Davies is the singer. Really good bass player. I don't know his name. Is it some Pratt, I believe. Solid drummer. Stephen Jansen played with them for a little bit, from like 82 to 84, who used to be in Japan. The keyboard player is solid. He also does some percussion, and they've switched out a few bass players here and there, and some horn players, background singer, etc. Especially in the last like 10 years, since they've been pretty consistent about playing live around Australia for the most part, and you know, anniversary tour concerts and things like that. Still doing a great pulling a lot of audience members. You know, a lot of good attendance in their show. Still very popular in Australia. You know, I would probably compare them to maybe, I don't know, like an American band, like, I wouldn't say like Bon Jovi or something like that, or Guns N' Roses, but somebody who can, maybe like Aerosmith or something like that. Somebody who can still, you know, sell out 5 to 15,000, you know, every time they play. You know, I'm sure Aerosmith could probably play some bigger stadium dates and stuff like that. But, you know, on the most part, if they played every, you know, year or two, a couple times every year, it'd probably be in the 5 to 10,000 range, and they do a good job of that, playing in festivals. And my history with them is actually, I feel kind of ashamed to mention that a lot of times I pride myself on finding bands early on in their career or before they're known or anything like that. And you know, I remember when I was a kid, you know, in '87, when Electric Blue and Crazy those tracks were huge on the radio, and I was probably about 11 years old then. And I think at the time I was, you know, getting into things like Bauhaus and Susie and the Banshees, and I was a big Cure fan, Depeche Mode, and even Pet Shop Boys at that time. By the time I was like 10 or 11, so, you know, to Electric Blue and Crazy, they're definitely good songs, but they're not necessarily. For some reason, I just thought they were like a one-hit wonder, or that's what they were, and you know, and I never really listened to much else from them until about 10 years ago, and I was on my Pandora station, and No Promises came on, and I was like, I've heard this before. That this is so awesome, and I immediately, you know, went on Discogs and ordered the single, and I just love that track and the remixes and things like that. And then I just started digging in deeper and deeper, and I was really surprised to hear so much good music. And today I wanted to talk about my some of the records that I have of theirs, and then I'm gonna close this out by doing my top 30 Icehouse records, songs of all time, which I recently did this week, and I was kind of bored and just decided to do that. So starting off with their first album. This is Icehouse. This is the original pressing, Australian pressing. Really cool artwork. I actually have this hung up. That's why it's not in the sleeve. Probably about 95% of my records are in sleeves. I probably have, I don't know, I'm probably around like 12,000 CDs or 11,000 records. Somewhere, you know, maybe about 1,000 cassettes now, you know, so about 95% of my records are in sleeve. Probably about 8 years ago, 10 years ago, somewhere around then, I just wanted to protect my sleeves a lot more, so I ended up just spending a shitload of money on buying sleeves for them, the nicer sleeves, which you'll see some of the other ones that I have, you know, around. Especially when I go through records here on Electronic Cafe and showing records, probably a lot of times you won't be able to see the artwork as well, because it's in a plastic sleeve, and I don't feel like taking it out and showing the record a lot of time. I know you guys don't really care about seeing the record unless it's specifically special or something like that, or I want to show something on it, or sometimes there will, but you know, on the most part, just want to show the artwork. And the reason why this is in the sleeves is because I have it up, but I love this artwork. This is probably the second a song that I really gravitated to, the title track, which is Icehouse. It's kind of a dark, moody track. Really cool video for the time. I think it was 1980. So Icehouse started in like 70, 76, 77, and I think even as far back as like 74, they are all getting together and being like a cover band and playing like David Bowie and Roxy Music and uh, T-Rex and things like that. Maybe even some AC/DC in there. I've heard them cover, and they do a really good job. And they're a very tight group, and that's kind of lends itself to how they started out as being a cover band. And so just it's very interesting. Especially in those days, it's not like they started in UK or America or something like that. They started in Australia, so what else? How else are you going to really start in the 70s besides doing like cover band? It's kind of interesting. When I think of the other good bands that I followed from Australia, like Midnight Oil and INXS, and maybe even there's bands like AC/DC and things like that. The most of them had a grueling start where they weren't famous for quite a few albums. I mean, INXS probably put out 3 albums before they even charted in '82 with Shabu Shabu. So they were doing stuff for about 4 years before they were even recognized in another country. So same thing with Icehouse. They didn't really get recognized for a good 4 or 5 years. I think their first hit was in Germany with the next album, and that was probably their first top 40 song in another country. So Icehouse, really cool record, and they started out with the name called Flowers, and then I guess there was a issue with that somebody else having that band name, so they changed it to Icehouse, and that probably came from the title of the song Icehouse, right? So cool record. Probably my least favorite of them. I think it has a little bit of a. It's strange because they have like a new romantic look, but there's times when the Icehouse tracks that I generally don't like. They kind of have like maybe a little more rocky. Of course, me being in electronic music and things like that, I tend to like the tracks that have like keyboards and are a little bit more minimal, like the title track Icehouse. I don't really like too many other tracks on this album, to be fair. It has a couple. I know "Can't Help Myself" is fairly strong, and it's a popular one in Australia. But I'm not a huge fan. It's probably my least favorite of them. But I did get the reissue because I'm such a hardcore collector, and this is on white vinyl. And of course, I went back to the original Flowers name for this one. So as you can see in a sleeve. All right, so moving on to their and of course I got the single for Icehouse too, since it's such a favorite track of mine of theirs. And you'll see where it lands. There's a lot of good songs by Icehouse, and this used to be again my second favorite besides No Promises. And as I really got into more of their records, I found out so many much more good music by them. So their second album, Primitive Man, this one did really good in Australia, basically because of the song called Great Southern Land. And that's kind of a typical rhythm section that they have in Great Southern Land, which is similar to No Promises in the way that they just carry on such a good groove in their songs. Hey Little Girl, another hit from here. Street Cafe is also a really popular one from this particular album. I believe those are the 3 singles. Hey Little Girl was actually a big hit in Germany and a couple other countries, maybe New Zealand and things like that. The first time, strangely enough, back in 2002, there was a German artist name, which makes sense because it was such a big song in Germany. Matthias you have to excuse me on my pronunciation. Schaffenhauser from Ware Records. If you guys know the label Ware Records from Germany, it's a minimal techno label from like I don't know, maybe like 98 to like 2007, 2009, somewhere around there. The owner of the label, Matthias Schopenhauser, did a cover version for Hey Little Girl. And I remember I actually having it in my record room. And that it's a really good track, and it has a couple of remixes of it. That's a really cool single. Fast forward probably 10, 15 years later, and then I found out that Icehouse was the original maker of it. So really cool track on that. Those are probably my three favorite songs on there. Is Little Girl, Southern Land, and Street Cafe. Really solid album. This is a big album, and it's really put them on the map when it comes to them in Australia. In fact, Great Southern Land, it's obviously about Australia. It's considered, in a way, I've seen it in some reviews in some magazines, and they kind of likened it to, like, I don't know, maybe like Born in the USA for like Bruce Springsteen or something like that for America. Like it's kind of a national song. I can't remember the top. I think it went top 5, maybe top 10 as well. And then we get into their third album, which is I have the cassette here, is Sidewalk. This is a really interesting album. I got the record right here. This is my favorite full length by them. Has the most songs that I like. I think I like maybe like 8 or 9 out of the 10 songs on here. Simple Minds went to Australia in like 80, 81, I believe, and Icehouse opened up for them and really influenced them a lot. And it kind of goes back to them being a cover band, right? So they do such a good job of being influenced by other people and blend it into their own style and own way. And this is quintessential. There's a couple tracks on here that sound, and you'll see a lot of reviews online, but there's a couple tracks on here that sound very much like Simple Minds at the time. Of New Gold Dream, that particular, right around that 81, 82, New Gold, right before New Gold Dream, but it has that reel to reel, Empires of the Dance, Simple Minds has that kind of sound with them, and then they toured with them, and it totally makes sense. And then also there's a couple tracks on here that sound like Brian Ferry and sort of Roxy music. So Avalon, that album was huge in 82, and this came out in 82, 83, or 83, I think, maybe even 84, but it just totally makes sense. There's even a chord change, or key change, on one of the songs. I'm blanking on the name of it, but it has like an aha change to it, and it sounds very much like aha. So I think there's another track on one of the other albums that sounds a little bit like Ultravox. So they were really good about being influenced by other people and not being shy about it, and kind of turning it into their own songs. And those particular songs are my most favorite, versus maybe their own style that kind of came from Australia, and that's kind of more street life, Street Cafe, and I Can't Help Myself, which was a big song later for them. That kind of has a little bit more of I don't know if it's an Australian sound, but it's a little bit more in the traditional kind of rock sound, where everything else that has keyboards seems very influenced by Simple Minds and other keyboard bands, and then also who wasn't inspired by Roxy music. And there's a couple songs where he sings like Brian Ferry, and the bass lines are very much like a Roxy music song. So very good album. My favorite album, as a whole. Here's a couple singles. Taking to Town. Taking the Town, really good one. Is also on it's a single to the side, Sidewalk. Has an extended remix on there, and then also the reason why I really got it was the B-side, Java. Java is an excellent instrumental track, and that kind of goes back to what I was talking about. This one really had me excited when I remember when I found this, and it sounds like Tangerine Dream. In fact, I'm working on putting a mix together, and that track's going to be on there because it's just such a great track. It goes with the theme of the and I won't say any more about that, but keep that as a secret. I like people to go into my mixes without hearing or knowing what they're about, or the theme or the tracks and stuff like that. I think I should do a story about that. The mystery within mixes. It'll be like seeing a track list before you hear a mix, right? You don't go to a dance floor and see the track list and be like, oh, okay, those are the tracks. Might as well go home. Like I don't like people to know. I don't like to know what songs are being played before I hear somebody's mix. I want to be surprised. I want to be wowed by where it goes. I don't like seeing, like if you're reading a book and you see the table of contents, I don't want to see the table of contents. I like a mystery. I don't want to know where it's going or who's playing, because if I see it has a surgeon track on there, I know which direction it's going. There's not so much you can, BPMs and stuff like that, and the type of techno it is. I know what techno it is, so I don't feel like listening to that particular techno at that moment, maybe, or maybe I do, but I just like the mystery involved in track lists and mixes, and I don't like to know, and I don't like to generally give an idea. I like to do a theme and not share tracks. Anyways, Java, really strong track. It sounds like Tangerine Dream. It's beautiful. It's very much like the Desert Eagle. I'm trying to remember the names of those. Anyways, it sounds like the 81 to 83, like the last few years of Tangerine Dream, after Exit, like Desert and a couple other ones, blanking, Tangram, and so it sounds very much like Tangerine Dream. Very cool, very cool, very cool. Another single from the album. This is the one that sounds Don't Believe Anymore. This is definitely one of their best slow songs. Probably when I look at my list, it's my second favorite of their slow songs. It also has a couple great B-sides. The Mountain is actually on Sidewalk, but it's a great song, great B-side. And then only on this EP, and really the reason why I got this at the time is the song called Dance On, which sounds just like a Roxy Music song. Very cool. Great bass line, like Roxy Music around that period had. Great bass lines in Avalon, especially the more upbeat ones, and Dance On, that's more of an upbeat one, so love this single. Really great song, one of my favorites, Icehouse. So going on to Measure for Measure. This is their album in '85, and this has No Promises. Cross the Border. Paradise is a really good song. The Flames is a really good song. Angel Street's a really good song. Mr. Big, not a good song. That song, I don't know why they play that song. I hope they don't see this video, but that song sucks. Sorry. It's like the worst song in the world. And it was a big hit. Not a big hit, but I think it was like top 40. It's one of the singles, I think, from this album. But No Promises, Cross the Border, Spanish Gold isn't bad. Paradise and the Flame. Angel Street. Really good album. 6 really solid songs on here. Very good. My second favorite Icehouse album. And then, I got, of course, had to get the EP, the maxi single for No Promises. The dance version, dance remix, and then the extended remix. Both great versions. The original pushing I think the dance remix is like 6.5 minutes, and then the extended is around 8. Great versions of it. Terra Incognita, really good B-side as well. But the remixes for No Promises, they're great. Fantastic. And in fact, they've done some digital stuff and a few remix albums. And the recent remix, actually the club remix is on here. And then I think the extended version, and then there's also a dance remix, and the club one is actually around 8 minutes, and then there's one that's like almost 8, and then one that's like 6. But all 3 are great. Almost have to have all of them. In fact, I can't find the other one, but I do have the American. I think this is the UK pressing, and then I do have the American one as well, because I've got to have all 3 of those remixes. I don't think the third one is on vinyl though. Then I don't have the cover, but Cross the Border dance remix on the original. Really cool track. If you guys ever want a good little laugh, it's kind of a very 80s. But Ian Davis, known for his mullet, the video for Cross the Border man, his mullet is on point on that one. I'm talking about like he looks like some kind of like king or something. You know, he looks like Lion King. It's like a mane. You know, probably I don't know, maybe like here, like below his chest on the back, and really short up front. But it looks cool. He's rocking it. He's from Australia. He's in the outback. He's rocking the fresh mullet. You know, which I think is for him. It actually works. And his pants are super tight jeans. But great video. He's you can say he milks it up, especially in some of the live shows around 85, 86. The way he sings certain songs, and you know he does his little ad libs, and he's like a great singer, very on point, and very. I should do a video about singing, but certain singers, he's great at ad libbing, and that's key when you're in a concert. Like Kerr from Simple Minds, Jim Kerr from Simple Minds, does great at ad libbing. Most of the time when I see concerts, I want it to be like, you know, like listening to the CD. Like I want it to mimic, you know, what I've been listening to for the last year or two. I want to hear what it sounds similar. Some artists, singers, when they go off on a tangent, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. Like I want them to sound like, you know, like the Release, like I've been hearing for 1,000 times. However, Ian Davis, Jim Kerr, maybe a few others like Dave Gahan, Robert Smith, stuff like that. Like there's certain singers out there that they can ad lib and kind of go off and do their own thing and hit different notes at different times, and it works. And they can always do it, and it always works. Some people, not so much. So Across the Border, you should check out that video. Very cool. Kind of funny in a way, but actually cool. Probably their I wouldn't say their biggest message in the video, but Across the Border, it's about war and things like that. Video is pretty cool. Also has a guitar in it. To do that, I think he's kind of mixed. He was with the band, the keyboard player, and I think he plays guitar also and saxophone on some of the songs. I think he's mixed, like African American, because he sort of has like a little bit of a fro. But that dude is rocking the guitar for a couple of years. Like I'm talking like, you know, that's pretty funny. But man, Australian, give it up. Their last album, their last probably good album, album that I have, and this is Man of Colors, which has Crazy and Electric Blue on it. Man of Colors, the title song, fantastic. And there, you know, there's he's rocking the mullet a little bit there, but you know that's just a glimpse. You can see that the guitar player next to him with a little bit of afro, kind of looks like he's in Fishbone or something. And then some of the other members. I think this is the bass player here, guitar player, and that guy does saxophone and stuff like that. The other guy must be the drummer that replaced Steve Jansen, unless that's him, but I don't think so. But My Obsession's a cool song. The Kingdom, good song. Nothing Too Serious, which is from, I want to say if that's from the Yahoo Serious movie. If you guys remember that, which bombed in the late 80s. About 4 good tracks on here, though. You know, Crazy, Electric Blue, Man of Colors, My Kingdom, and Heartbreak Kid. My Obsession. Good stuff on there. So yeah, so those are the albums. I would say Man of Colors is probably my third favorite, and Measure for Measure second, and then Sidewalk first. So going over the top 30 tracks from Icehouse. So, you know, I went through the whole discography for the most part, and really kind of narrowed this down, and went back and forth on a few of them, and hopefully, you know, you'll catch a few that maybe you don't know and check them out. So number 30, Touch the Fire. 29, Shotdown. That one actually, that's the one that sounds like Simple Minds from Sidewalk. Crazy at number 28. One by One at number 27. 26, Someone Like You. 25, Taking the Town. 24, Kingdom. 23, Electric Blue. Pretty low on there, huh? Electric Blue and Crazy. See, Electric Blue is a great song. I sometimes play it in my 80s sets, but Crazy, you know, it's a good song, but it's good, you know. Some songs get so popular that, you don't really want to hear them ever again, but you're like, oh, okay, it's a good song, it's catchy, but you find other songs and then they kind of top that, and you kind of go to those songs, and that's how I've always been kind of like that. Like if I'm going to play Violator, I'm not, like if I'm DJing, I'm not going to play. In general, I'm not going to play Personal Jesus unless I'm playing like the Pump remix, or maybe another remix for it. World of My Eyes, I'll probably play the remix or something like that. I generally won't play, Enjoy Silence. I'll play a remix, but I'm not going to play the original song for the most part. Like Violator might be a bad example because there's not like a lot of a lot of other songs on there that are danceable, but maybe like Music for Masses, I'll play nothing versus playing like Strange Love or Behind the Wheel. So number 22, Sunrise. 21, Sidewalk, title song from there. Number 20, Paradise. 19, The Perfect Crime, which is a really good B-side as well. That one's, I still got to get around to getting that on vinyl. 18, On My Mind, that's the other B-side I need to get it. I think that's from Dusty Pages. I think that's from that single. I gotta get that one. That wasn't a single in America. So number 18, On My Mind. 17, the title track for Icehouse. 16 is that Dusty Pages song. 15, The Flame. 14, Stranger. Really good track. I'm trying to remember where that's from. I think it's a B-side. Really good track. 13, This Time. 12, Dance On. 11, Just a Word. Another great B-side. And then top 10. So top 10, Southern Land, number 10. 9, Angel Street. 8, Mountain Song. 7, Hey Little Girl. 6, Don't Believe Anymore. 5 is the Java, the Tangerine Dream instrumental. Fantastic. 4, Stay Close Tonight. Oh, I had the single here anyways. Oh, Don't Believe Anymore is the single I had. 4, Stay Close Tonight is the other slow song on Measure for Measure. Or, yeah. No, I'm sorry, on Sidewalk. 3, Cross the Border. Great song. 2, Man of Colors. Man of Colors is such a moving song. If anybody gets a chance, and have you never heard Man of Colors, or the song and want to hear a good version, YouTube Icehouse Man of Colors, you'll see like a blue background. It's like a 7-minute version. It starts out with kind of a spooky intro for like a minute. Great version. It's such a moving track. So that's number 2. And then number 1, No Promises. Can't beat that. So that's my top 30 for Icehouse. So, thanks for listening today and talking about Icehouse, but really strong group. It's one of those bands that I've found a little bit later in my life, and man, I wish I would have known about them earlier, but it's, you can't find everything as soon as they come out, and that's the great thing about so many bands and so much music out there, is that you'll never know everything, and there's always something to find. And then also to that is hearing a song or two and then writing them off like that's how they are. None of their songs sound like Crazy or Electric Blue. Those are just really popular songs. Like the other ones, lots of keyboards, lots of moody, good bass line, good guitar, great singing. Ian Davis, a great singer, some good guitar riffs. Like they're influenced again by a lot of bands that I had already liked, so some of their songs sound like them. So, for a 4 or 5 album period there from 1980 to about 87 with Man of Colors, man, they have 5 really strong albums and 30 songs that I really, really like from them. And so, that puts them up there in some of my favorite bands from the 80s. So, Icehouse, check them out if you don't know. Very underrated. Very underrated. Check out some of the songs that I said. Hopefully you'll check them out and tell me what you think. If you want to maybe give your top 5 tracks or top 10 or your favorite album or favorite song by Icehouse or any memories. If you've seen them in a concert, I know they came a couple times in the 80s when they were big, but probably haven't been here since as far as tour. And that's another thing. Check out their 40th anniversary tour show in Australia. It's about an hour and 45 minutes. 40th anniversary show from, I think it was 2016 or 2014 it came out, their 40 years. Really strong. Has most of these songs, probably has half of the songs. Maybe even a little bit less than half. For some reason they don't play a lot of Sidewalk. And that's my favorite album from them. I think on that album, they may play only like one or two songs on their tours, on their concerts lately, and I've seen quite a bit of their concerts to see, and they generally stay in the same, hour to hour and a half worth of songs because they have a lot of material, and they don't always like playing just stuff from 82 to 80 to 87. They also have a few albums in the 90s as well, which I haven't checked out the 91 album. It means to, but I Can't Help Myself is on that one, and that's number 30 on there. So that's the only song after 87 that's on my list. I did hear that one in a few shows, and I like that one. So yeah, check them out, Icehouse, and thanks for checking in on Electric Cafe. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.